Welcome to our noon edition of Arirang News. Here are the stories making the headlines at this hour. Doctors groups in the country are open to President Yoon's offer to sit down for talks on the weeks-long medical standoff, but trainee doctors have not responded to the proposal. South Korean chipmaker SK Hynix said it will invest $3.8 billion towards building its first chip packaging facility. The world's second-largest memory chip maker hopes to strengthen its position in the industry. Search and rescue operations are underway in Taiwan after the island saw its biggest earthquake in 25 years. At least 9 people died in Wednesday's tremors and thousands are injured. President Yoon's proposal to sit down for talks with absent trainee doctors remains up in the air as the doctors appear to be contemplating a response to the call among themselves. Doctors group, though, hailed Yoon's offer. Shin Se-byuk starts us off.
The Korean Medical Association on Wednesday welcomed President Yoon's proposal to personally meet with trainee doctors who resigned en masse in protest over the government's medical reform plan.
We welcome the President's move to accept the proposal made by the committee last week for him to directly meet with junior doctors.
An emergency steering committee of the nation's medical professors also welcomed Yoon's dialogue proposal. However, they stressed that the government must suspend its plan to increase the number of medical school admission seats as a sincere gesture to engage in dialogue with resident doctors. Despite welcoming responses from medical associations, eyes are on whether a meeting between President Yoon and junior doctors will take place, as trainee doctors, the primary stakeholders, have remained silent. Meanwhile, the government has decided to temporarily expand telemedicine services to local public health centers across South Korea. The health ministry explained on Wednesday that it's part of an emergency medical system designed to fill potential gaps in medical services in remote areas.
The current procedures for non-face-to-face medical care, such as sending prescriptions to pharmacies, will apply equally. This will make it more convenient for people who have been using local public health centers for purposes such as healthcare management and prevention.
With this, diagnoses and prescriptions for minor illnesses can be obtained at 246 public health centers nationwide. The government will also push for the plan to increase the number of full-time professors in medical schools nationwide by 1,000 by 2027. It is currently conducting a demand survey across universities to be completed by the 8th of this month. Shin Se-byuk, Arirang News.
President Yoon has called on the government to take fast action to revise laws and execute the budget to help households and small businesses strengthen their finances. Yoon on Thursday held a meeting to review a series of public policy discussions he held with citizens throughout the country with a focus on economic issues. He noted that tens of thousands have already benefited from the follow-up measures, including plans to allow small businesses to refinance their debt and enable both individuals and firms to transfer to lower-interest loan plans. Yoon also highlighted priority areas for executing policies, including the opening of the high-speed rail line GTX-A, reductions in electricity bills for small business owners, loan transfer services, and an expansion of mobile phone subsidies. South Korean chipmaker SK Hynix has announced that it will invest $3.8 billion into building its first U.S. chip packaging facility to further strengthen its position in the chip-making market. Our business correspondent Lee Soo-jin has the details.
South Korean chipmaker SK Hynix is building its first U.S. semiconductor packaging plant in the state of Indiana. The company announced on Wednesday local time that it will invest $3.8 billion into building the advanced packaging plant, as well as a research and development facility for AI products such as high-bandwidth memory chips. The world's second-largest memory chip maker will also collaborate with researchers from Purdue University, which is located in Indiana, as well as other research institutions. This comes as the company has been looking for places within the United States to build chip manufacturing plants amid the growing demand for advanced AI chips like HBMs that are used to power generative AI models such as ChatGPT. The Biden administration announced in 2022 that it will provide subsidies to boost U.S. competitiveness in the chip market, with a total of $39 billion set aside for companies that build chip manufacturing plants in the U.S. And according to industry sources, SK Hynix has already applied for a share. The company said it decided to build its first U.S. packaging facility in Indiana because of advanced engineering research at Purdue University and the state's robust manufacturing infrastructure and support. Mass production of AI memory products is expected to begin at the plant in the second half of 2028. And according to SK Hynix, production and R&D facilities are expected to create more than 1,000 new jobs in the region. The chip maker not only has the largest share of the global HBM market, but is also the sole supplier of HBM3 chips to NVIDIA, which leads the AI chip market with an 80% share. SK Hynix already announced that it began shipments of the latest 5th-generation HBM3E at the end of last month, with some of the initial shipments going to NVIDIA. But SK Hynix will not just be focusing on overseas investment, as it will continue with its domestic investment plans, which include a project worth nearly $90 billion to build a semiconductor cluster in Yeouido, a city located on the southern outskirts of Seoul. 이수진, Arirang News.
South Korean construction firms Samsung E&A and GSE&C have won a mega deal to expand a gas plant in Saudi Arabia worth billions of dollars, the largest secured by Korean companies in the Middle East. Take a listen for more. Samsung E&A and GSE&C have won a combined $7.2 billion deal to expand a gas plant in Saudi Arabia. Samsung's construction arm announced on Wednesday that it had been successful in securing $6 billion worth of contracts for packages number 1 and number 4 for the Fadhili gas plant expansion project from Saudi Arabia's state-owned oil company Aramco, the largest project a South Korean construction firm has ever secured in the Middle East country. These packages involve building a gas processing plant and utility and additional facilities. GSE&C also bagged an order worth $1.2 billion for the program's package number 2, the construction of a sulfur recovery processing plant. The contract value that the two companies have secured this time equals about a fifth of all overseas contracts won by South Korean construction firms last year. Thanks to these contracts, the total value of overseas construction orders secured as of April 2nd this year has hit over $12.7 billion, more than doubling last year's figure for the same period. The deals also come less than a year after Hyundai Construction landed a $5 billion deal for a petrochemical plant in Saudi Arabia last June. With the domestic real estate market experiencing a downturn, the construction industry is increasingly looking abroad for opportunities. Amid these circumstances, the latest deals are fueling expectations for a second Middle East construction boom. This potential boom harks back to the first one in the 1970s, when Korean construction firms made significant inroads into the Middle East, setting the stage for Korea's rapid economic growth. The presidential office hailed the contract on Wednesday, saying it resulted from President Yoon Suk-yeol's summit diplomacy with Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman. The two leaders have exchanged visits, with President Yoon making a state visit to Riyadh last October, where an agreement was made to strengthen cooperation in infrastructure. According to Aramco, Saudi's state petroleum company, the project will increase the Fadhili gas plant's processing capacity from 2.5 to up to 4 billion standard cubic feet per day, raising production capacity by more than 60% by 2030 compared to 2021. The number of Chinese tourists using international ferries running between Incheon and major cities in China saw an increase last month. According to Incheon Port Authority on Thursday, over 67,000 passengers used the route connecting Incheon and 5 cities in China, including Qingdao and Weihai, in March. That was an increase of over 400% compared to February and a rebound toward pre-COVID figures. Some 68,000 travelers were recorded in March of 2019. An official from the Korea-China Car Ferry Association said the increase was due to greater discounts on fares and at duty-free shops. With less than a week left until the 22nd general election, both the ruling and opposition parties are zeroing in on their efforts on the battleground region of Gyeonggi-do Province, known as the Semiconductor Belt. A minor party has also joined the race. Our National Assembly correspondent Cheongmyeong went out and filed this report.
Cities with plants run by major chip makers in southern parts of Gyeonggi-do Province, known as the Semiconductor Belt, have emerged as a key battleground for the upcoming election. And Hwasong City, where I'm now, is one of them. Parties have been announcing chip-related pledges and nominating influential candidates in the Semiconductor Belt. The main opposition Democratic Party has put up Kong Young-un, a former president of Hyundai Motor, as a candidate for the Hwasong-bi constituency. Kong pledged to establish a semiconductor and automotive convergence cluster based on his experience leading a global company.
I've been part of Hwasong's industrial growth and history, and I'm ready to use my experience to keep pushing forward.
The ruling People Power Party selected Han Jung-min, a former researcher in Samsung Electronics memory chip department, for the same constituency. Han, who has been living in Dongtan, a town in Hwasong City, for a decade, highlighted his ability to address residents' concerns while pledging to establish a human resources development institute for semiconductors and create a stable chip industry environment.
I will introduce an expanded version of the K-Chips Act. The chip industry is closely related to Dongtan. For instance, last year tax revenue from Hwasong City dropped by 300 billion won due to industrial problems. I believe supporting the semiconductor industry is key to Dongtan's development.
A three-way race has developed with Lee Jun-seok, a former PPP chairman and current leader of the newly launched New Reform Party, entering the fray. The average age of residents in Hwasong-bi is 34.7 years old, making it statistically the youngest among 254 electoral districts. It's known for having voters who are interested in policies related to transportation and child care. All three candidates have proposed tailored pledges, including initiatives to improve transportation and establish specialized high schools.
People in Dongtan are interested to see how the traffic network will expand following the GTX opening. In light of this, we're focusing on projects, including a tramway construction as our policy pledges.
With just a week to go before April's general election, all eyes are on which candidate will gain the upper hand in the semiconductor belt, which is considered a pivotal swing region. 신하영, Arirang News.
At least 9 people are dead and over 1,000 have been injured after a magnitude 7.4 earthquake struck Taiwan on Wednesday. Search and rescue operations are ongoing for 143 people trapped or stranded in mines and tunnels. Lee Seung-jae has the latest.
The magnitude 7.4 earthquake that rocked Taiwan on Wednesday has resulted in at least 9 deaths and injuries to over 1,000 people. As of 10 p.m. Wednesday local time, 231 buildings across the island state were reported to have been damaged. Also, 143 people were left trapped or stranded in mines and tunnels, with overnight search and rescue operations being conducted. 3 of the deaths and injuries to about 40 people were caused by falling rocks caused by a landslide at the Taroko National Park, a famous local tourist attraction. 50 workers traveling in minibuses to a hotel in a national park are also missing. Aftershocks have slowed the search and rescue operations, with over 200 being reported since the initial quake. 2 of the aftershocks were reported to have been greater than magnitude 6. The first 72 hours are considered the golden time for rescue operations, with the death toll expected to rise even further after that. Today being the first day of the Cheongmyeong holiday in Taiwan, where people visit their ancestors and pay their respects at their graves. The damage caused by Wednesday's earthquake is causing traffic disruptions as roads and railways are restricted in many areas. The Taiwanese government has prepared measures, including alternatives by plane and by sea, to help ease the delays. The latest earthquake is the largest since the 1999 quake, which killed over 2,400 people. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
The Russian Foreign Ministry on Wednesday slammed South Korea's decision to impose sanctions on Russian ships and individuals, vowing to take action in response to the, quote, unfriendly step. According to Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova, the illegitimate sanctions imposed by South Korea will have negative consequences for relations with Russia, without elaborating further. The comments come after the South Korean government imposed sanctions on 2 Russian individuals and their companies involved in sending North Korean IT workers overseas, along with 2 Russian ships involved in shipping military supplies between North Korea and Russia. You know when spring is here in South Korea when cherry blossoms have finally bloomed from their flower buds. And my colleague Choi Soo-young went out to one of the most iconic cherry blossom scenes in Seoul to share what it looks like right now. Soo-young, where are you? And tell us about the atmosphere where you're at right now.
Good afternoon, Yoon. I'm just finally, the scent of the spring has returned. I'm just right now standing on Junjungno Road nearby the National Assembly building in Yeouido, which is one of the most famous spots to enjoy the cherry blossoms here in capital Seoul. This year, many people here in South Korea must have been waiting for when the cherry blossom would bloom. It was expected that the cherry blossoms would bloom about a week earlier than last year, starting from mid-March. But the weather around that time, including sudden cold snaps and spring rain showers, delayed the blossoms. As a result, they actually bloomed 4 to 5 days later than usual, making many visitors eagerly await their arrival. Despite today being a weekday, Thursday, even earlier this morning, there were many visitors around here enjoying spring.
This is my first day here, and this is a very beautiful place to see the flowers, and there's no such a big place like in Taiwan, so yeah, I'm very enjoying it.
Until last week, the weather was a bit cold, so even if the flowers bloomed, it would have been difficult to enjoy them. But now that the weather has warmed up and the flowers are in full bloom, it's even nicer to come out and see them.
All right, and
for those who want to know the best spots to enjoy the stunning view, use exit 1 of National Assembly Station or exit 2 of Yeouido Station and Subway Line 5.
Soo-young, it really looks beautiful. I think it was worth the wait, though it has been delayed for a week. The full bloom makes it a beautiful scenery. And I hear that there have been some traffic restrictions that have been extended due to the cherry blossoms. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, unfortunately, many places for cherry blossoms nationwide had planned festivals for the end of March. The Yeouido Cherry Blossom Festival was originally scheduled to start on March 29th and end tonight, but city officials announced that even though the festival will end, they would extend traffic restrictions on nearby roads in Yeouido until next Monday, the 8th. Facilities such as shelters for light picnics, photo zones, and temporary health centers set up for the festival will also remain open until then, providing convenience and rest spaces for visitors. The Korea Meteorological Administration has forecast that despite the weather having a significant impact so far, people will be able to enjoy fully bloomed cherry blossoms this weekend. That's all I have for now. Back to you, Yeon.
All right, thank you so much, Soo-young. That was Choi Soo-young at Yeouido. And the tallest tree in South Korea is a ginkgo tree on Yongmun Mountain in Gyeonggi-do Province. The precise age of the tree and other scientific information about it have remained unknown until now. But now, researchers here have digitally modeled the tree, revealing its secrets for the first time. Chung Won-ju with more.
A ginkgo tree on Yongmunsan Mountain in Yangpyeong-gun, Gyeonggi-do Province is regarded as the tallest tree in South Korea. However, there has never been any scientific examination of the tree's physical characteristics until now. South Korean researchers have uncovered information about the ginkgo tree by digitally modeling it. The researchers utilize LiDAR used in unmanned vehicles to measure information about the ginkgo tree and create its digital twin.
By emitting laser light and analyzing the reflected information, we can acquire various information such as distance, movement direction, speed, position, and surrounding environment in a 3D format.
As a result, the height of the Yongmunsan Mountain ginkgo tree was found to be 38.8 meters, equivalent to about 13 stories of an apartment building. The total weight of the tree is 97.9 tons, comparable to the weight of about 69 medium-sized cars. The biggest question, the age of the tree, has also been revealed. Using the method of measuring the age of old trees, the calculated result was 1,018 years.
By applying the growth information analyzed with LiDAR to the age estimate database of old trees at the Korean National Institute of Forest Science, the tree's age was found to be 1,018 years. This dates back to the Goryeo Dynasty period in 1007 AD.
The annual carbon dioxide absorption capacity of the Yongmunsan mountain ginkgo tree was 113 kilograms, equivalent to the amount absorbed annually by 11 50-year-old Mongolian oak trees. 정은주, Arirang News.
Let's take a look at the latest news in the world now. Gold prices hit another record high on Wednesday, following U.S. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell's comment reiterating caution in adjusting interest rates. Spot gold prices rose to a record high of almost $2,295 per ounce. Powell said on Wednesday that the U.S. Central Bank will only impose the anticipated interest rate cuts once they have greater confidence that inflation is moving sustainably down to the Fed's 2% target. Powell commented that recent readings on both job gains and inflation have come in higher than expected, saying that it's too early to judge whether the recent readings represent more than just a bump. New inflation data is due next week, and the latest U.S. jobs report is due on Friday. Finance experts still expect to see a first rate cut at the central bank's policy meeting in June. Gold is often seen as a hedge against inflation, and gold prices have increased over 11% so far this year. Iran has accused Israel of carrying out an airstrike on the Iranian embassy in Syria on Monday, which killed 5 military advisors and 2 generals, and pledged to retaliate. Supreme leader of Iran, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, said on Wednesday that Israel will be slapped for the attack. Monday's airstrike in Damascus destroyed a consular building adjacent to the main embassy grounds. Israel has not claimed responsibility for the airstrike, although an Israeli government source told Reuters that those killed had been responsible for attacks against Israeli and U.S. assets. Iran has so far avoided direct conflict with Israel since the outbreak of war in Gaza, while indirectly supporting forces that attack Israeli and U.S. targets. Finnish police said on Wednesday that the school shooting in the city of Vantaa the previous day was a result of bullying. Lead investigator, Detective Chief Inspector Marko Sarka, said in a statement that the sole suspect of the shooting, a 12-year-old boy, was apparently bullied, which was the motive for the attack. A 12-year-old boy was killed and 2 girls of the same age were injured in the attack. According to a study by the Finnish Institute for Health and Welfare, Finland has seen an increase in bullying in schools, with almost 1 out of 10 pupils around 12 years of age saying that they have been a target at least once a week. Parents visited a temporary memorial at the scene of the shooting and asked authorities to take more active action in stamping out bullying. Kim Seong, Arirang News.
Good afternoon. We are already down to the 5th spring seasonal term, Cheongmyeong, which literally means the day of brightness, but rather we are seeing lots of clouds with some rain in Yeouido Province and surrounding areas and Daejeon through tomorrow dawn. Meanwhile, temperatures stay on the warmer side, hovering way above season norms this afternoon. And those in southern provinces will also notice warmer highs today after yesterday's breezy and rainy afternoon. Daejeon gets up to 18 degrees Celsius or 17 degrees Celsius rather, Seoul topping out at 20 degrees Celsius. Air quality will be normal to good nationwide all day today. Then pleasant spring weather and sunny skies return tomorrow, perfect for spring outings and activities. And as the cherry blossoms will fully bloom this weekend in the capital area, roads will be jam-packed. So bear that in mind and plan accordingly for your weekend. That's Korea for you, and here's a look at the international weather conditions.
That's all we have for you at this hour. We'll bring you more updates tomorrow.